Welcome to the Table Podcast series with Bridget Johnson. Each month, we give you game-changing conversations about K-12 education and leadership. Join us as top educators, field experts, and administrators share actionable strategies to transform your school community. Let's dive in.
Welcome to The Table, the podcast where student-life professionals, educators, and change makers come together to share stories, insights, and ideas for building communities where everyone belongs. I'm your host, Bridget Johnson. Today, I'm excited to welcome two guests who are reshaping how we think about athletic identity and student development. Casey Johnson is the founder and CEO of Gymnaze and a former Division I football player at Norfolk State. His work focuses on measuring the leadership and mindset traits that traditionally stats miss, things like coachability, resilience, and sports IQ. Michael Willett is the founder and CEO of Walk On Nation and a former Division I football student athlete at UCF. A career-ending injury helped him realize the need for athletes to discover who they are beyond the game, and he now leads a movement teaching young people that they are enhanced, not defined by their sport. Today, we're talking about how identity, mindset, and character development can transform the student-athlete experience and how schools can support that work in practical and meaningful ways. Welcome to the show, Casey and Michael, and Happy New Year. How are you guys doing?
Happy New Year. Doing
Thank
well.
you for having us. Appreciate it. Happy New Year.
Oh, absolutely. Glad to have you here. This has been a little while in the making. Michael, I met you. Well, I didn't formally meet you. I've never seen you in person, actually, but I saw you online and I immediately thought of my brother, Casey, and how the things that you guys are doing would kind of mesh well together. I'm so happy to have this opportunity to have you both on to talk about the work that you're doing for student athletes. And as a former student athlete myself, this definitely hits home. So, with that said, shall we jump in?
Let's do it.
All right. So, Michael, take us back to the moment your playing career ended. What was that transition like, and when did you realize there was a bigger mission in that experience?
That moment was tough.
That was a deep breath.
Yeah, I went back there. It was definitely tough having that career-ending injury. So the injury is called myositis ossificans. Basically, internal blood calcifies to a whole new bone. I had that in my thigh from taking the helmet there over and over and over again, playing running back. So basically, it's either you can get surgery, and that's basically pulling out bone and muscle with a chance of it growing back, or dealing with quality of life. And I said, I'll just do quality of life. But it was devastating, so much so that we were undefeated that year, national championship, all that stuff. So it was my senior year. Very bittersweet. So technically ended on a high note, but not in my mind because I didn't get to play at all. So that was very tough. And I realized during that time that my identity was so rooted in athletics. Even though I was one of the guys with my head on straight, when it was taken away from me out of nowhere, I was not ready for life at all. It was a downward spiral from there. So through years of just working through it and understanding that I need to figure out who I am. That's how Walk On Nation was created. Because if I messed up, I can only imagine what other athletes are going through. So I feel like I wanted to be the change I wanted to see, and that's how it started from there.
Yeah, so many athletes kind of identify themselves as an athlete and nothing else, and because it's all consuming for a good portion of your life up until it's not. And then to have that kind of severe drop off, or just like all of a sudden it's just not there. It's not even a slow drip for you. It was like all of a sudden it's like not happening anymore. Can be really devastating and be really challenging. So with that said, Casey, what gap did you see in how we evaluate athletes that led you to create Gymnaze? And was there a moment you thought that we need to measure these things differently?
Yeah. Number one, Michael, I kind of share that sentiment. I actually had a not necessarily career ending, but it definitely halted my career in terms of I tore my quad muscle my senior year as well. So I know how debilitating that is. And when it's actually over, how you're actually going through a mourning process, honestly, you're trying to figure out what's next in life, especially when the sport, like you said, we've just been all consuming for such a long time. But in terms of why I started Gymnaze, Bridget, I'm not sure if you really remember this. Michael, just to take you behind the curtain a little bit, Bridget, myself, and my brother, we actually had these debates centered around sports all the time. Who's the best athlete that we went up against? Who's the best athlete between us in the family? Things of that nature. But one of the debates that we had was uh, in terms of athlete evaluation. And the sentiment that I took away when having that discussion was, from a mindset standpoint, that's the person who can have all the physical traits and tools and most talented person in the world. But the debate was, if they don't have it mentally, then they just don't have it, and there's nothing you can do about it. And I felt like that's not right, and we went back and forth. I was like, yeah, but there is obviously something that you can do about it. I know for myself personally, in the classroom, let's take sports out of it. I can have I might be struggling in one particular class 1 year, and then the next year going to a higher level, ace the class just because the information was presented to me differently. And so I started researching things, and from that standpoint, realizing, you know, I looked at all the great coaches that I had in my life and how I performed during that time period, and also some of the coaches that lacked a little bit, right? And yeah, and we've all been there, and how I performed during that time period, and that really led to me saying, "Hey, there's something there." So gymnasium actually means to train yourself. So we develop a platform that you can actually glean from. Okay, who I am as a person, as well as what do I know in this particular sport to help me perform at my highest level.
That's awesome. I actually remember that conversation because I remember exactly who I was thinking about when we had that conversation. That person will remain nameless, but
That's probably the safest bet, right?
probably, probably. But for both of you, when did you first recognize that athletic identity didn't just need support; it needed to be redefined?
For me, it was as soon as I was done playing, I realized how that topic wasn't discussed at all,
Mm.
or it was glanced over. We've all heard the term more than the athlete before, but most of us don't even know what that means. It just sounds cool. So for me, I wanted to really dive in deep and redefine what that identity really means, and how there are so many great things you pull from being an athlete, but understand that's not your end all be all. It only enhances who you are, and it gives us a lot of intangible skills that in the real world is why we thrive. But we just think once the jersey's done for and we hang it up, we're done for as a person. They say athletes, you die two deaths. And
Mm.
I always feel like that shouldn't be the case. I'm just starting my new life and I'm reemerging, really finding who I am now. So that was big for me. Redefining athletic identity was a showing that that is not all who you are, when you are so enhanced by that and it doesn't define you at all.
Yeah,
I love
absolutely.
that.
Yeah. Yeah, same. I realized after I was done playing how much my identity was tied up into my sport. I remember, from the bad, giving up a 75-yard touchdown, and they showing it all weekend on the local news channel, and how I didn't want to go to class the next day or go to film study, and just didn't feel like eating just because of how bad I felt. Or even the highest of highs, getting the interception or making a big hit, and hearing the crowd go, ooh, all those different things. Then my chest is pumped up, but realizing that I shouldn't be on this emotional roller coaster all the time, and knowing that at the end of the day, I'm still Casey Johnson, fun-loving, goofy, competitive. Regardless of whether that play worked out for me or not, I'm still that person, still a good person. At the end of the day, and I shouldn't allow a bad moment define who I am.
I'm going to take a pause here because I think that's an important piece to highlight, just in terms of the fact that how student athletes, whether you're in high school, college, even now younger, um, can be so affected by what's happening, the highs and the lows, and not wanting to go to class and not wanting to eat and not wanting to kind of walk around campus. Sometimes teachers in the classroom forget about that piece and they just assume that kids are showing up with their whole selves, and they've got lots of different pieces that kind of affect how they can be their best selves wherever they are, whether it's in the classroom, on the field, part of an advisory group or another team. And so we need to make make sure that we are not forgetting about that piece, because it's always great, when the teams are winning, they're doing well,
Right.
but also it's a real struggle for kids in terms of identity when they're not doing well. Or the flip side of that, when they don't even make the team and they think that that's kind of their identity, and they show up at schools thinking that, I'm a football player, and they don't make the team. And so how do you manage that? How do you help students kind of work through that stuff? All that stuff is really important. So I'm glad that you guys highlighted that.
Absolutely.
100%.
Michael, Walk On Nation teaches that athletes are enhanced, not defined by their sport. What does that look like in everyday student life?
It looks like you carrying your authentic self, kind of how Casey alluded to when you have a bad day or a bad game and it drags on you. You just feel like that's who I am. I know for me, we had a season where we were 0-12 and we sucked. Like
Oh.
we weren't close to winning games. And you know how we were all former athletes. We all had our gear and stuff. I would throw mine in the closet, lock mine away because I was tired of being told like you suck. You start to believe that's your self worth after a while, not
Right.
realizing that there's so much more to me that people don't even see because I don't show it. Because I'm so
Mm,
used to hiding behind this athlete and the gear, and I'm a football player, so this is who I am, and not realizing that there's so much more to me, and actually being able to show that to the world. So it's just really being your authentic self in everyday life and walking that and being comfortable in your own skin. A lot of us, for being 100% candid and honest,
yeah,
we had very low self esteem and being without being an athlete. Like
Right.
you told me to
yeah.
talk about something outside of football, I ain't got nothing to talk about for you. I can't help you with that conversation.
Right.
We just are so used to the spotlight of being an athlete, and once that spotlight goes with it, oh, I guess I ain't got nothing to offer. So just being comfortable in your skin and knowing that there's, like we said earlier, there's so much more to you, and just walking in that day to day, and sometimes it's discovering it for the first time, which means being by yourself, maybe going for a walk, listen to some music, pick up some hobbies or passions you used to like. It takes some discovery phases from yourself to be able to find and really live the authentic life through your day to day life.
I love that. That's great. Casey, you said that mindset is a metric that matters most. What do programs miss when they focus only on speed, strength, and stats?
Yeah, no, I think it's simply fit, right?
Mm,
Sometimes, the environment just might not be the best fit for you. Coaches, they, God bless them, they're trying to keep a job. And so they're trying to collect talent, as much talent as they possibly can. But is that particular athlete the best fit for your particular program and vice versa? There's a guy on social media right now, and he talks about, how it's a different locker room. An Alabama locker room is a completely different locker room from a Notre Dame locker room, right?
yeah.
Because how he describes it is they're real life dogs in those locker room in Alabama versus someone maybe the nice guy in the Notre Dame locker room. And I probably shouldn't name the program, but you get my drift from that standpoint. And so in the day and age of the transfer portal and NIL money, now this is a real life investment, that these coaches and the players are making in terms of when they are making these choices. And so you want to make sure that in terms of a fit, it's the best fit for you. And they're actually going to be able to support you in the manner that you need to be supported. Right? And I know we'll get into this a little bit later on, but the environment and who that athlete is, um, you want to go to as an athlete. I want to go to a coach who knows me and knows how to best motivate me. And so I don't. If I need a kick in the pants, I don't need the arm around the shoulder guy all the time. I need someone who's going to light a fire under me, or vice versa. So the fit is a huge piece that these programs are missing.
Yeah, so you hit the nail on the head. I mean, athletes are different now. I mean, we are in a different day and age. And gosh, now I'm going to date myself. When I was an athlete, I feel like I'm one of those, I walked to school uphill both ways with no
Right.
shoes on kind of thing. But the pressure is so much different now for student athletes. First of all, the social media, the NIL, like you've got adults commenting on student performance, like all the things that are happening. So
And
what
betting.
are you guys seeing? How are you what struggles are you seeing, and how does the performance pressure show up most in today's student athlete?
That's a great question. I think there's a lot of ways it shows up, but I think social media is a big one that I'd pinpoint, especially. Yeah, I had social media when I was playing, but it wasn't as prevalent as it is now, especially with NIL attached and you can make money off social media now. It adds a whole new ball game. And you alluded to it earlier, Bridget. Athletes are getting social media early, like to where they're in Pop One or in Little League and have thinking they're a star when honest, you're 10. You can change
Right.
by the time you get to college. And having that pressure early at a young age while our brains are forming and shaping has
Mhm.
changed the dynamic of how athletes think, move, and respond.
Mm,
It's putting that pressure on them, and so it's showing them that your status is dictated on how great you are as a player at a very, very young age. When I was just playing to have fun and win some games. Like
Mhm.
right.
I go home, I play some video games and call it a day. I'm not posting highlights. I'm not doing any of that stuff. But that's what kids are growing up into now, and social media has boosted it, especially with the money attached to it. Where I know
Man.
high school, you can make money off NIL in high school now, and there's once you
In
put
high
that,
school?
yep,
That I didn't know.
yep, in Florida,
What?
yeah, in Florida you can make money in NIL in high school. So once you put that price line attached to it, I've turned into a businessman at a 14, 15-year-old kid rather than just living life and trying to figure out what's going on in life. I'm now trying to make some money. And for some of us, trying to get our parents out of situations to where it's a whole nother conversation,
Right.
but it adds a
Right.
whole nother pressure
Right.
to that. So I think for me, social media is a big thing that's shaping and putting a lot of pressure on the athletes nowadays.
Yeah, no. To piggyback on that, now it's honestly mandatory that for you to have social media so you can get recruited. If if you don't have the exposure necessary, you're not going to get the views or the opportunities for a scholarship nowadays. So speaking with people who have recruiting companies and things of that nature, it's like, yeah, the social media is a huge aspect of it. You see so many coaches on Twitter or X now that they do their recruiting on that. Have your huddle account on in your bios and keep on refreshing it so we can see your highlights. And it's something that you're not getting away from at all. And then, Michael, you definitely hit, you touched on it in terms of the parent aspect of, people trying to get into better situations depending on the area that you're in. Hey, you can feel that pressure from the parents as well. You hear a lot, from the coaches that everybody thinks that their child's the next LeBron or Kobe or whoever. Name your sport, name your athlete. They feel like their child's the next that. And so parents are well-meaning. They have this belief in their kids, but at the same time, they can be a detriment as well.
Man, that seems like a full-time job now. I mean, it was a full-time job before with AAU and kind of all of the different kind of avenues and the personal trainer and the this and the that. But now you've got to manage social media. Like, do you need a manager? Do you need a
Yes.
accountant? Are you handling money? Like, there's so many other pieces now. And we're not even talking about just going to school. Like, maybe you should just be going to school. I don't know. Call me crazy.
Right.
But that is so interesting to hear. I didn't realize it had trickled down to the high school level. I thought that it just magically happened at the college level. I don't know. But that is, wow, is all I have to say about that. So
Right.
let's talk about both of your approaches and kind of what you're doing, kind of boots on the ground. So, Casey, walk us through the Gymnase assessment. What are you actually measuring, and what does it
Right.
show coaches or schools in practice?
Yeah, absolutely. So we actually have a two-prong assessment where we measure sports IQ along with the personality intrinsic traits. From the sports IQ side, we actually have our own taxonomy where at level one, there's 5 different levels, but at level one, we are measuring basic knowledge, basic rules, terminology, positioning, functionality of the game. Then, as you go up higher, you go to concepts. And at the highest level, we're measuring situational awareness, game time situational awareness things. On the other side of things, we are measuring the personality traits as well. So you mentioned resiliency, leadership skills, coachability, poise, all those different aspects that make you who you are as a human being. And so with those data points, number one, from a sports IQ side, is it allows the coach to know what the athlete does know and what they don't know, and in terms of especially different concepts and philosophies, will that person, based off their knowledge, will they be a good fit for the program? And then going back to the personality side of things, it can actually help you make some decisions in terms of who your captains are.
Mm.
Who should be taking the last second shot. Poise and who's not going to, even if it doesn't work out, who's actually resilient enough to come back from it. So those are the things, that those data points we feel like are extremely important when making a decision, and not only making a decision on the athlete, but it goes back to developing and cultivating the athlete. I think that's one of the biggest things that we want to tackle. You see a lack of development. It's not just in one sport. I've been interviewing, whether it's a basketball, football, baseball, soccer, volleyball coaches, and you see that there's a lack of development across the board. So we want to actually do our due diligence in filling that gap in terms of developing the athlete from that standpoint as well.
Nice. So you measure coachability, resilience, leadership, and sports IQ. But how do you measure those objectively and reliably? Like,
Yeah,
how do
yeah.
you know
So
what you're doing?
I can't give you all the secret sauce, but we do have well, we do have scientists on our team, and they come from the world of assessments, and there is a formula right behind that where we're actually doing it, and we're validating it. It's actually been validated from the standpoint of the assessments that we're giving. One thing is that it's not us just, like, number one, I'm just the athlete, so I'm not coming up with these questions. I'm not qualified. I do have scientists actually on the team that who come from the world of assessment world, and they have this formula that, like I said, I can't go into details about it, that allows us to make sure that we're measuring it accurately from that standpoint. If that makes sense.
No, that does make sense, and so I appreciate you sharing that. And so you mentioned like you're working with this testing tool or this assessment. Do you mind telling us who that is? Because I think people in education are familiar with that organization.
Oh, so we've been working with well, we poached from ETS. So educational testing services, those are where the two scientists who are actually on our team, they actually came from. And so ETS has been, in their knowledge base, has been a huge um, help in terms of how we develop our tests.
Wonderful. Okay, Michael. So, how do you help athletes explore who they are beyond the sport while they're still competing? And what does that process look like?
Yeah, so we do a lot of interactive discussion-based workshops, which really stems around three core things of understanding who you are, what you want to be, and what the legacy you want to leave behind. The thing that we're really trying to help athletes is that belief in themselves that a lot of them don't have. A lot of us fake to have it, or we like to put onus on the coaches or parents why we're not succeeding to a degree, when we really don't like looking in the mirror and seeing that, hey, I'm struggling, I need some help. So we open these conversations of understanding who you are outside of being an athlete. What do you want to be in life? What is your purpose? What are some obstacles that you're faced in life? And a lot of this, when we discuss obstacles, we're our biggest obstacle, in understanding why we're our biggest obstacle, whether that's fear of failure, self doubt, seeking validation from others. Really, we dive into that conversation and let the athlete speak. What we make sure is that we don't come in as the experts to where we talk at you. We're in this room, we're having a conversation, we're learning from each other. So if the athletes, we make sure the athletes speak and talk so they can sometimes for the first time ever say, this is who I am, this is who I want to be. And it's freeing for some athletes, and a lot of them, it's a light bulb goes, like an aha moment, to where it's like, oh, I never realized how much power I have, one, being an athlete, but on the flip side, I never understood that I am so much more. And I have a lot of goals in life that are away from my sport. And there's so many other things I want to do in life in general, because this sport is going to end. 100% chance it's going to end. No matter how great you are, it's going to come to an end. So what do you stand on after that? So we just do a bunch of workshops around the country with a bunch of universities and high schools, and helping them understand and just start the conversation of really who you are. Because we don't, in the conversation piece, once you leave this workshop, you're not going to know who you are. I understand that completely. But we've started the conversation, and you can take it from there and grow. because you should be growing throughout your whole life. You should never peak unless you choose to peak. So teaching them how to grow and how to learn and how to find themselves is what we're really trying to do.
Nice. Love that. So, for both of you, who pushes back against this work? And what do you hear from coaches or programs who hesitate to engage with identity and mindset development? Uh-oh.
I, I wouldn't say anyone pushback. The pushback is budget.
Okay.
budget. Budget is the pushback because we all know this is needed, but it's
Uh-huh.
priority. So the biggest priority for a lot of universities is NIL and revenue sharing. So we're trying to figure out who we're giving our money to, where the budget has to go. And a lot of times, which is sad, student athlete development is the first one that gets cut off the budget.
Mm,
So this isn't really the main focus as it should be. It's because then you see, sadly, suicides, things like that happen. And it becomes
yeah.
reactionary. What should we do? What should we do when the thing was already in front of you, but you prioritized making the money over the actual health of the student athletes? We don't realize, even though you should, without the athletes, you don't have a job. So really pouring back into them in that way. I say that's the biggest, not necessarily a person. I think it's more of a system itself is a pushback.
Yeah, I agree with that. The budget is definitely a big one, but I definitely get a person as well. I get coaches a lot, honestly. Why do I need an assessment to tell me this? Where I can tell you if someone has it in terms of what they're teaching them, or they don't, or I know who that person is. So I recruited this kid, and so I know him, and I know the family, this, that, and the third. And then sometimes we get it from the athlete as well. Like, why do I need to do this? Who likes taking assessments? And so there is that aspect of things, but when you really sit down and break down why this is important from the assessment, what you're getting are the results, and being able to have these data points and being able to point back, oh, this is why this decision was made, or this is why he missed that block because he didn't understand where his eyes should be, things of that nature. Those are important data points where I was able to emphasize and coach certain things versus and really prioritizing certain things when you're actually speaking to these athletes will go a long way. But the pushback can come from multiple sources.
That's fair. And, with any new technology, any new thing, people are maybe a little hesitant at first, for sure.
Exactly, especially when it comes to the budget.
So, Michael, can you share a story of a student athlete whose life shifted after doing identity work with Walk On Nation?
It's hard to pinpoint one story, but what I can say is I've had athletes come in not wanting to be in the workshop at all. We try to make it mandatory, but
Hmm.
once the workshop is done, they realize that they've gotten so much out of it and are so happy that they had the chance to open up and speak. Because in our workshops, it's a safe space, but it does get open and it gets real in the workshops when we talk about what's really going on in life and what's going on through their life. And I think it's big for them to see that they're not the only ones going through the problems that they think they're going through. A lot of times, it's human nature to think my problems are only my problems, no one is going through it.
Sure.
So I'm going to stay quiet. Except when we're in the room and everyone's talking, you see, it's not just me. I'm not the issue. Everyone's going through it. Now, how can I grow learning that I'm not a problem myself? It's we're all going through this. When you're in an athlete space, there's certain things we go through in this world that we all go through it. You're not alone, but we don't see that because we're in our own world. So being able to expose them to that and see how freeing it is for them after the workshop is something I always love and appreciate.
That's awesome. I love that. So, Casey, how about you? How has Gymnase data changed how a coach evaluates, recruits, or supports an athlete?
Yeah, I think I said it before in terms of being able to pinpoint the gaps, right? From the sports IQ side, being able to see, okay, this is why this athlete can't make this play. Just because it's something simple as his eyes are in the wrong spot. He's reading the wrong things, or this pass on the basketball court. One of the huge indicators of a high IQ person, quote unquote, is the amount of turnovers they have on
Mm,
the board. And so being able to say, okay, this is reducing the turnover margin just based off of now this person knows exactly what his function is on the court, where they're supposed to be, where the eye should be, and how to attack it goes a long way. And then from the standpoint of the support aspect of things, we mentioned it before. Sometimes you do need that arm around the shoulder guy when the person might have been having a rough game or a rough week of practice, whatever it may be. But we started sports early in our day and age, and in dating ourselves, the athlete is different where you can't just curse them out how they used to curse us out. I was getting cursed out at 8, 9 years old. And you can put certain curse words together. The coach was putting them together. And so being able to understand, okay, I have to approach this athlete in a different manner goes a long way, because now you have a more connected athlete. When an athlete knows that the coaches really care about them, the athlete tends to do more for that coach in terms of, you hear the expression running through a brick wall for the coach. They're willing to do that when they know that the coach actually cares about them. So being able to connect the coaches and the players from a chemistry standpoint, the camaraderie aspect of things is huge. I'm not sure if I'm gonna get in trouble with it, but I'm not sure what's happening in the Philadelphia Eagles locker room right now. Right? So many things that are happening. AJ Brown in 1 week is saying that, hey, it's bad. Trade me from your fantasy squad. There's so many things that are happening, but it's a symptom of what's really going on in the locker room, right? And so being able to pinpoint those issues. And you can take a toxic environment and figure out how to work through those things. Could be a major thing as well.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that locker room chemistry is a thing. It's important.
Yes.
And sometimes people kind of forget the importance of relationships. I'm going to kind of take it there, because in any working environment, whether it's the locker room or the boardroom or the classroom, having those working relationships with people that you are alongside with are invaluable. You can't be a good, productive team if you don't have good working relationships. And if you don't want to even get to know the person that you are working next to, it's a little bit of a problem. Don't see how you can be productive and move forward if you don't even like the person. I mean, you don't even necessarily need to like the person. You need to be respectful and be able to work together. And sometimes that gets lost in the emotion of, well, I don't like them, so I don't feel like I need to work with them. And that, I bet you, sometimes happens in the locker room too. So
Right on. So, a lot of things happening in that locker room.
I'm sure a couple of things happening for sure. So both of your programs help prevent the post-career identity crisis. And I think, Michael, with Walk On Nation, that's kind of more evident with yours. But how do your approaches prepare students for life beyond the sport?
It gives them a chance to speak for themselves. A lot of times, until we're kicked out of the system, we never had a chance to really speak for ourselves. It's a learned skill, honestly. So being able to hone that skill, or at least open the door to it early, and our job is always push them back to staff at whatever university or high school we're working in. Our job is to make sure that the athletes can have resources to go back to truly help them. If you're on staff at, say, at University of Central Florida, I'm going to make sure I open the door to show them that you're there, but also they're prepared to walk in the door and say, hey, this is who I am. This is who I want to be. Now, can you help me? So we can vouch for ourselves for the first time. For post-career, as adults, you have to vouch for yourselves in order to get the job. But if I was never taught how to vouch for myself, and as athletes, a lot of things have been done for us our whole life. And I've never been taught that skill. So for us, it's really helping them get ready to believe themselves and vouch for themselves in the real world, to be comfortable. Like, this is who I am, and nothing's going to change that. But also understanding that I need to be strong in myself, because the world has shaped me to a way that I may not like. And now I can shape myself to be who I really want to be and who I truly am.
Nice.
Yeah, from the gymnasium aspect of things, we realized the assessments of just understanding who you are and being able to operate in your strengths go really a long way. One of the things that spurred me on in terms of gymnasium was when I first took the Strength Finders assessment, and when I was able to do that, I realized what qualities, what were my true strengths, and how to operate in those strengths. And from there, I saw my career path just, I was getting promoted left and right because of that. And so that's the overall goal with Gymnase. We're doing certain things where even the assessments and the person that once you get the results of it, we're working with the same scientists that actually can give you a career path. What careers actually are a good fit for your personality type, and being able to know that you'll be able to even possibly choose your major if we're able to get this tool in the hands of athletes at an early age. So those are the things that we're working on. Really want to be able to prepare them where you'll find your passions even outside of the sport earlier on in the process, where you're not at your senior year and it's like, okay, my major was general studies, and now I got to figure out what I'm going to do with it, and being able to be able to choose a major, find passions, and find a career outside of the sport. Hopefully you go on and play professionally for 10, 15 years, but like Michael said, at some point it's going to come to an end. So having that in the back of your mind, so, I'm also good at this, and I can still continue on along with playing is our ultimate goal as well.
Nice. So, Casey and Michael, where does this or how does this work fit into existing student life and athletic structures? How can schools integrate identity and mindset development into what they're already doing? So they don't have to blow up, kind of everything that they've always done to implement some or be strategic or sensitive to identity and mindset.
I think you alluded to it earlier, Bridget, is remembering the human side of your students, your athletes, that we all go through life in a different way, and letting there be a place or a safe space for them to let the emotions out to where it can be helped and you can foster that growth. I think at times we all do it. We forget that on the other side of us is another human, and we
Right.
expect people to know what we know, or we think common sense is common when it's really not as common as we. So,
Woo, say that for the people in the back.
so we just have to be empathetic in how we approach situations. Everyone's home life is different. Everyone's situation is different, but giving them a chance to foster themselves and realize that you can help shape them to where they understand and are comfortable in their own skin. I just think creating that environment and safe space to where even if you're on a teacher, where an athlete can see you for you, not you as a teacher, but you as Bridget. Like, who is Bridget? This is who I am. This is me. And I know me being young, I looked up to people. And if I see someone authentically being themselves at all times, I want to authentically be myself the whole time. And I know they're not putting on a front and facade. So the onus goes back to you on staff as well. Just living your true life as well. And that can bleed over into their life, and they'll understand that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, in regards to Gymnase, our tool is really built as an enhancer, right? It's to help inform the decisions that you're already going to make. Being able to have that on the front end of things, instead of trying to discover midway through the year, hey, we're depending on this person as a leader or as a communicator, and this person isn't really necessarily the right fit for it. Maybe we should be having that information beforehand going into the season. I think it actually saves time more than anything. And so that's our big goal, is to be able to enhance what you're already doing. You're already making these decisions on a day-to-day. Let us give you a little bit more data to confirm the decisions that you're making, or make you rethink some of the decisions that you're making as well.
Cool. So, just thinking about the tension between this identity development and the pressure to win, because people are like, you know what, that sounds great, but we just need to win.
Right.
How do you guys both navigate that tension?
I say, if for me, if I know who I am, I'm going to play better. My self doubt and my fear of failure is out the window. I'm just going to naturally play better. So that's
Okay.
why I feel like this goes hand in hand. Because if you were a coach and you had a person that's timid, self doubt, always afraid to make a play, we don't know the answer. You go sit on that bench.
Right.
But alluding to what Katie said, if you can find people in Gymnase that already have that factor to them, like, I know I'm going to make a play, and you can foster that to where it grows with the team because they know who they are, then you're winning. It's real simple. It starts with understanding I'm comfortable in making the play. I can make it. I know I can do it. I know I'm great at what I do. I make the play. We win games. I do my job. Done.
Right. Right. Absolutely. Yeah. And I can't say it any better. When you were saying that, it takes me back to Terrell Owens, screaming on the sidelines, "Who can make a play? I can't. Give me the ball." And having that confident player, you're going to, win more games. If you have a team of confident players, knowing that they know that they can do their job and do it at a high level, you're automatically going to win games. Unfortunately, teams don't always take that. They don't want to, take a step back and say, okay, I'm just trying to win games, and this is how I've always done it, and this is what we're going to do. Taking a step back and really identifying who you really have, what makes that particular person great, and being able to put that person in position. That's what the best coaches actually do. They identify the talent. They know exactly where to place them at in terms of in their scheme. And from there, let them go to work. And you see those players and those teams actually win versus those who really don't have a plan, who really don't know who they have. And unfortunately, they lose a lot of games because of it.
Interesting. I like that. So let's kind of look down the road. Let's look to the future. Where do we see athlete evaluation and identity support heading over the next 5 to 10 years?
Optimistically, I pray and hope that it's the focus. Realistically, at least for my part, not so much Gymnase. Gymnase has a lot of stuff that can help with the bottom line of winning and making sure we're giving NIL to the right people. I think the budget and NIL is going to be such a focus, especially with so much money being thrown around, even with in the college football spaces. Coaches are losing jobs mid-season and picking up jobs mid-season to where, as an athletic director, I can't focus on development. I got to deal with a coach, and I got to deal with millions and millions and millions of dollars. So optimistically, I want it to be a focus. Realistically, I think it's going to take some time for us to get there until NIL and the revenue sharing is really, really figured out. But I think for Gymnase, there's definitely a place where it can really help the bottom line.
Okay.
Absolutely. Think in a world where we've always measured, there's the eye test, right? How big you are, how strong you are, how fast you are, things of that nature. Like everybody's getting these personal trainers to make sure that they hit these metrics, right? But you'll see the ones who are really winning, those who are moving the needle. I believe that they will focus more so on the identity aspect, where everybody's doing the same thing over here. Those who want to set themselves apart will actually, go to the identity aspect of things. Am I bringing in the right player? Am I bringing in the right person who has all the measurables, right? You can find, when Mike, I'm pretty sure when you went to UCF, and this was my experience when I went to Norfolk State, I thought, okay, yeah, I was a decent athlete. I was pretty good, had a few accomplishments, but everybody had those same accomplishments. Once I got to school, I was looking at the depth chart when I first got to Norfolk State, first string, second string, third string, and I didn't see my name anywhere.
You're like, wait,
down at the
this is
bottom.
a mistake.
Where do I fit into this equation? But from the physical standpoint, like you'll see plenty of the guys who can actually run fast times or are strong as knots. The identity aspect is what the thing's going to actually set you apart. So I really see that at some point, the good programs will really invest because this is what's going to set you apart from the other ones.
Awesome. So as we think about closing today, what's one thing that deans, teachers, advisors, or coaches could do tomorrow to start these conversations with student athletes?
Honestly, I think you just said it, Bridget. Just start the conversation with the student athletes. It's real simple. You just got to start the conversation and let them have a chance to speak. Can't talk at them. Got to give them a platform for them to speak up and really be comfortable in saying what they want and meaning what they want.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. Or you can also go to gymnase.com and we can consult you.
I was getting to that next. You stole my thunder.
I'm sorry.
Tell you how to introduce yourself, how people can find you. Casey, go ahead.
Shameless plug. No, but seriously, I think starting the conversation is really the biggest thing. At the end of the day, speaking more about this, making people more aware of the challenges of the student athlete from an identity standpoint. We have this false bravado all the time. It's like, oh, I gotta be this, and I'm beating my chest, and I'm this, I'm that, and you have to show confidence, for other people. And a lot of times it's fake. You know what I mean? A lot of times, sometimes we're delusional.
Make it till you make it, right?
Exactly. Being able to have the confident athlete, like knowing that I'm seeing this more so in my sons now. My son, his first year playing tackle football, and being able to continue to pour in confidence into him, where he's like, Dad, I'm not sure. I'm not sure about this. But being able to have those honest conversations, that's why I love what you're doing, because to be real at the end of the day, and being showing up as your authentic self goes a long way. And having a conversation goes a long way.
Awesome. So, Michael, how can folks get in touch with you? What are you offering to schools and universities? What are you up to?
So the best way to get in touch is through a website, walkonnation.org. LinkedIn, you can find me, Michael Willett, on Instagram, walkon_nation. So we offer a bunch of workshops for universities. For high school, we're really doing a leadership cohort development program, which takes 6 to 8 times we see them, and we help them be the change they want to see. So we're training leaders at the high school level to where they can now give back to the community. We know we can only do but so much. But I know me growing up, I looked up to the high school football player more than I would the NFL person because, hey, you're right in my neighborhood. So training those athletes in high school to not just be thrown and get the stamp of leader, be comfortable and confident in being a leader and teaching them those skills. So that's what we're doing. That's where you can find us, and we're here to help in any way we can.
Awesome. Casey, even though you already said it.
All right, jumped the gun a little bit. But yeah, again, you can connect with us on gymnase.com. We would love to be able to partner with your organization, come along with you, give you a rundown of our assessments, give you a demo, and then hopefully be able to help develop your kids, your athletes. And I think that, again, from an identity standpoint, just how important that is to us. For us, it really is about cultivating the athlete and developing, and hopefully be able to partner with you guys.
Nice. Appreciate that. So before we go, little lightning round. You guys up for it?
Sure.
Game.
All right, let's go. So first question is, what was your hype song before getting ready for a big game?
Snap. 50 Cent, Many Men.
Okay.
Nice. Nice one. So I wasn't a hype man person. Like I had to do a lot of things to calm myself down. So
interesting. I didn't know that about you.
Yeah. So I was already had this fire burning. So I was going to make sure that I calm it down a little bit and go from there. So I actually listened to a lot of gospel music beforehand.
Okay.
Fred Hammond or Fred Hammond's really my go-to.
You'll stop there? Okay.
Yeah, I just stopped.
All right, next question. Who do you think is the best football player in your position?
Now or ever?
Ever.
Barry Sanders.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I've gone back and forth with this one. I was a DB. And initially, I would say Deion Sanders, prime time, best cornerback of all time, and most people wouldn't argue with that. Also, always loved Ronnie Lott. And the reason why I said that is because he didn't just play one position. He played cornerback. He was an all-pro cornerback when he first got in the league. They moved him to free safety, all-pro cornerback. Then they moved him to strong safety. So he played throughout the entire secondary, and he was a madman. Whether it's interceptions or whether it's hits, he did it all, and he was on championship teams. So,
gotcha. All right, last question. And Casey, I know part of this for you, but Michael, favorite college and favorite professional team?
Favorite college got to be UCF. Favorite professional team for NFL is Baltimore Ravens.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, this one. I'm a Cowboys fan. Um, we're riding high right now. I know you should.
Yeah.
It's
Whatever.
look, the last 30 years have been tough for us, but that's how I'm loyal. So always been a huge Cowboys fan. From a college standpoint, I grew up as a Florida State Seminole fan. I used to love all those teams, whether it's going way back to Denny Cannell, then Charlie Ward and Warwick Dunn and Peter Warwick. All those guys were even Tamrick Vanover. That's how you know that it used to run deep. You know, those guys were ballers, and so I was a huge Florida State fan in football.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you coming on and chatting with me today about the work that you're doing and talking about how identity and mindset and character development can transform the student athlete. I really appreciate you guys. So thanks so much for being here today.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us, Bridget.
Absolutely. And so thanks for pulling up a chair at the table today. I hope this conversation gave you something to think about, or maybe something to even trial in your own community. If you're enjoying the table, don't forget to subscribe, share it with a friend, or leave us a comment. It really helps more people find us. I can say this today. And as always, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and we'll see you next time at the table. Have a good one.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of the Table Podcast Series. Is your student life program delivering on your mission? Our new K-12 student life assessment moves you beyond anecdotes to evidence-based decisions. Through comprehensive stakeholder surveys and expert analysis, you'll get concrete insights across 8 essential dimensions of student life, from culture and wellness to staff effectiveness and resource allocation. We're seeking founding partner schools to be the first to experience this transformative assessment process and help shape the future of student life evaluation. Today's episode was hosted by Bridget Johnson in conversation with Michael Willett and Casey Johnson. Produced and edited by Andrick Sigmund and music by PremiumBeat.co. For any questions, contact information can be found in the episode description. And, as always, thanks again for listening.